Welcome to all of my chat family. This is Marlene of the Marlene Saunders Show, where we have real talk, real conversations, and you're welcome to it. If it's your first time here, you know what to do. Do all of the YouTube things. How's everybody doing on this Hump Day Wednesday? Hope everybody has had a great week so far, and we're going to get into this topic. Today's topic is if I knew then what I know now. And isn't it so many things that when we were younger or when we were naive that we wish that we knew? And we're going to talk about some of those things. I'm going to share some of my things. I'm sure you all have some things that you have went through and you wish that you had the knowledge, the awareness, the perspective, you know, yeah, we're going to get into those things. So, I wish that I knew back then what I know now, and that is that I don't need other people in my life to be happy, that we can be happy all on our own. And sometimes we will just go through so many things because we're trying to force relationships, friendship, a job, and it's like it's not working. I wish I knew then that I know now that just don't force anything. Nothing should be forced, not a friendship, not even when it comes to your relatives, because we will do that sometimes. We'll force things just because society says that's how things should look, but it's just not working. Not all people who are our relatives actually care about us. So I wish I knew way back in the day that I know now, and that's not to force any relationships. If it's not working, it's not working. And you'll feel sometimes like it's you. And yeah, it can be you if you're immature, but sometimes you just don't gel with people. Not everybody is going to be your cup of tea. And I wish I knew. I would have saved myself so much aggravation and pain if I just knew back in the day that you only have to be yourself. And I know I'm not the only one because I've seen people who are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and they still have not come to know who they are. So I do wish that I knew back in the day what I know now. Another thing that I wish I knew back then that I know now is that I'm worth it. I don't know how many have come into their awareness as a woman or as a man, and just finding out, having enough confidence to say, I'm worth it. I'm enough. I don't have to be anybody other than me. And whoever doesn't accept it and doesn't like it, that's their problem. So, and it brings so much issues to the floor when we don't know our worth. But our worth is not taught in schools. And unfortunately, it's not always in the environment of your childhood when you were growing up. Sometimes a lot of people are just like me. I didn't come into my awareness and knowing my worth and my capabilities, and that I can do all the things that I want to do regardless of other people. And we'll get into that situation. Hey, Nate, how are you? Welcome. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to all of the chat family. Hope everybody's doing amazing. Yeah. I wish I had known way back in the day that I know now, and that's I'm worth it. And you're worth being treated in a respectful manner. You're worth people being loyal to you. You're worth supporting, because when you have a lot of people in your life or a few people in your life that are very toxic, dysfunctional, have some mental illness, I wish I knew back then that I can have enough confidence and courage to walk away from them because I don't need them. We'll be in this whole thing trying to negotiate our worth, trying to force a relationship, trying to make something work, and it's not working. No matter how much effort you put into a relationship, some people you aren't going to gel with. Some people are will never mature. Some people will never be accountable. So I wish I knew back then that I had the option to walk away, but I just didn't because I just wanted things to work. And you're always tripping on the things like, but I love them, but that love can be toxic too. And that's the whole thing that I wish I knew back then is, not all things that people say, their words are really what it is. Because a lot of people put on this fake character, persona. They're not who they say they are. So I wish I knew back in the day to not believe people at face value because I definitely didn't know that part. Hey, realists, what's going on? Happy Wednesday. I hope you're doing well. Peace, abundance, and blessings to you and everybody in the chat. I do wish I knew back then. Hey, Lisa, how are you? Welcome in. Happy Wednesday to you. I hope you're doing amazing. I wish I knew back in the day what I know now that, don't settle. Don't settle for less than you deserve. And we'll be in these relationships, romantic relationships, trying to make things work and it's not working. The math is not mathing, okay? And no matter how much you try, no matter how much you like and care for somebody, but if somebody doesn't care for themselves first, they cannot care for you either. No matter how much they say they love you, a lot of people need to step back and pour into themselves. And I wish I knew back in the day that it was okay to pour into myself. It was okay to take breaks from people. It was okay to do a lot of things that I just didn't do. Yes, Nate, toxic love. Isn't that an oxymoron? I think personally that back in the day, I didn't even know what love is, Yeah, we'll go there. A lot of people don't even know what love is to even add that, to say that they love you. They don't know what love personifies. They don't know what love looks like. They just have this idea in their mind of what love should look like. And some people think love is a fairy tale. And that's why they're always disappointed. There's no perfection in this life. Nobody is perfect. You're not perfect. They're not perfect. So if you're looking for a perfect standard, like you see on TV, people have this idealized idea of romance. And I wish I knew back then to be realistic. You're not never going to find a perfect person, but you can find a person who will be respectful, who will be kind, who will show up for you, and who will communicate. Everything else is kind of like, you know, it's there, and it would be nice if there was more than that. But for me, those are just my four things, it, like no non-negotiables. And I wish that I knew back then that there's certain things that I will not negotiate. And everybody wants different things in this life, isn't that true? But I wish I knew back then to not negotiate my values and my standards, to not dummy down my talents. And how many of us have dummied down our talents to please other people? You don't want to shine too bright because you'll show up this person. And I did that for so many years when I was younger. I'm not trying to show off or anything like that, but it is what it is. When you have this brightness, this light inside of you, and other people don't, they'll be like, oh, what is that? And why are you talking like that? And why are you talking about this? From the age I was about 9 years old, I've always been motivating people and encouraging people, but I let people uh, dim that inside of me because they weren't motivated, because they weren't positive. And I went into a shell because I was like, all I knew how to be. But eventually it came back up to the surface, and I was like, you know what? This is who I am. And I want to say that to everybody. Um, Maybe back in the day, you didn't know who you were. Maybe you weren't confident enough. Maybe you had toxic people around, or it was a lot of things going on, situations and traumas in your life. But eventually, you have to get to the space of acceptance, self acceptance. And I wish I knew back in the day that it's up to me to accept myself. It's up to me to be aware of my worth and to do something with that. I wish I knew that. I feel like I wasted so much of my life following behind people who didn't even know how to lead themselves. I wish I knew back in the day that I was a leader and not a follower, because today's society will stomp out that leadership quality, and want you to be a follower. And if that's not you, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with there's always going to have to be followers, and there's always going to be have to be leaders. But I've always been a leader. I've always been, telling people, like, this is what you do, this is how you do it. But you get stuck sometimes because you feel like this is your only option, because the people around you are followers. So you feel like, to fit in, to be accepted, I'll be a follower too. But that got old fast inside of me. That got really old. It was about how long my dad's passed, 8 years. So it's almost 8 years before I realized, like, I was like, Marlene, what are you doing? When your life changes, when your life shifts, when people shift out of your life, because that's how I look at someone passing away. I just look at it now, you have a new shift in direction in your life. And now the shift turned back to me, because that's what it is. The reality of people no longer being here, it shifts back to you. And then when you are not working on yourself and your life and doing what you need to do for you, this is when people fall apart. And that's what happened to me. It's like when my life shifted back to me. And if you are only, you know, a title, if you're only a daughter or a son or a wife or a husband or a friend or whatever, or an employee, if that's all you have under your belt, you don't really feel good about that shift back onto yourself, looking at yourself in the mirror. At least I didn't. When it shifted back, I was like, we need to work on ourselves. And that's when I got in therapy. And I started working on myself. And I started being real with myself. Like, what's your goal? What do you want your life to be? And no, we're not going to make excuses. And I wish I knew back then what I know now, is that excuses only keep you stuck. Excuses only make you miserable. And when you are in that space and mode of only making excuses and never making the right choices, I'm telling you, it's the darkest period of time in your life, because you're angry, you're miserable, and you'll find people who are like that. So it's like, you feel this way and people around you feel that way. You got to break out that mode and say, I'm done with the excuses. Now this is my life. I have to take control. I have to take my power back. And that's just what I did. And it took me a long time. Took me a few years, because, like I always say, it took you years to be that person with those attitudes and that mindset and that perception. You have to give yourself some grace, some self-compassion, and apply it to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Okay, it took you years to have this attitude and to think this way. Now you know better. And I remind myself of that. I'm not who I was. I'm who society or this person or that person that I was. But today I'm brand new. I'm brand new in my spirit, in my mindset, in my focus, in my personality, because I know my worth and my power. I'm telling you, it's a drastic change when you shift from worthless to worthy. It's a major change in your life. And I can't explain it any other way. When you find out that you're worth it, you're not going to take the trivial things from other people. You're not going to accept the lower standards. You're not going to dummy down yourself. You're going to hustle hard. And I'm telling you that I hustled hard when I tapped into my worth. I was about working on me. I was about my money and getting things right, because I said, if something isn't working right in my life, it's up to me. So I had my day job. I had my night job. I started my business. I did my YouTube. I was working on my family relationships. I was working on me. So that's one of the things that I am so proud of. And I always say, even if I left here tomorrow, I would be proud of the woman that I turned out to be. Not so much about 10 years ago. I wasn't proud of her. But today I can say that I'm proud of me, because I had the strength, the courage, the resiliency to face my fears, to face who I was, and to go into that closet, look at my skeletons, face them, and say, this is not good. You need to work on that. You need to work on that anger, that jealousy, that controlling spirit, that entitlement, all of it. Because until you work on fixing it, you're going to be that same way in the next 20 years. And I didn't want to be the person that I was 20 years ago, miserable, angry, jealous, complaining. Now, uh, I can say that I have good relationships with others because I'm good. And there's a lot of people that they can't step into that. They look at you like, oh, how come you have good friends? And how come you have this? And how come you have that? But they're not willing to have that hunger. And I'm telling you, when I got out of therapy, I became a ferocious beast. I was like, I'm ready, I'm hungry, and I'm going for mine. And that's how it has to be in your life until you get hungry. And I mean hungry, like you're going to devour. You're like, this is mine. I'm going for it until I win it. And that's how I approach every single day. I wake up hungry and I go for mines. So I want to say this to anybody who is listening right now, live or in the replay. It doesn't matter what you've come from. It doesn't matter who supports you. It doesn't matter who likes you. It doesn't matter what you've done. None of it matters at the end of the day. None of it matters. No matter what anybody says. It doesn't matter if you were in a terrible relationship. It doesn't matter if you were bankrupt, you lost everything. You can rise above your situation and your life like a phoenix. You can rise above the ashes. It's all up to you to choose to vibrate higher. And I remember that moment when I could feel myself rising, when my power was coming back. And then I found myself smiling throughout the day. I'm telling you, it's a remarkable thing, because it was years. I'm telling you, it was years before I felt comfortable to just be out in public and just smiling, because I felt good. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I like this. And you walk with your head up and you're confident, because you look at yourself and you're like, I don't just like myself, I love myself. There's a big difference. Yeah, you should like yourself, but at the end of the day, you should look at yourself and be like, I love me. I love me for all the things that people think is strange or weird. I embrace my quirks. I embrace who I was, and I embrace who I am today. Okay? Yes, Nate, some of life's lessons will be learned the hard way, unfortunately. Yeah. And I don't know about you all, but I definitely was a hard headed person. I wish I knew back then, like, you don't have to be so hard headed. I was the type of person that I had to experience it on my own, no matter how much my um, siblings, my parents, other people who knew me, and they tried to stop me from danger. They try to protect me. But I was the type of person like, okay, you say it's that way. I got to find out on my own. I don't recommend it, you all, but I know it made me more courageous because I was like, yeah, I found out the hard way, and I'm telling you all, if so, you have people in your life and you know they really care about you, you have to learn to check your ego. I wish I knew that back in the day. Check your ego. You don't have to always be right, and you don't have to always understand. I wish I knew that years and years ago. I wish I knew that years ago. Check your ego. You don't have to be right. You don't have to know everything. You have to think about if somebody cares about me so much and they want to protect me. I was like, I don't, it doesn't make any sense to me. But that's the time later on I can step back and look at the former me. And I remember when people used to say, hey, don't do that. Hey, save that money. Hey, invest in this business. Hey, you need to get your education in that. And I didn't. And trust me, it's harder when you get older and you got things going on. It's harder to get yourself together as you age, but it doesn't mean you can't do it. I said that to anybody. And I had an amazing conversation with Miss Gloria Howard. I don't know if you guys saw that video live stream. She was 62 years old when she went back to school. That's what I'm talking about. You're never too old. You're never too young. You've never made too much mistakes, but it's us. We have to get over our own ego. We have to get over our own self and say, it's okay. I forgive myself. And therapy did that for me. It helped me so much to be able to say, you messed up. You screwed up with that. You messed up that relationship. You messed up that friendship. You were immature in that case, you know. But when you own that and take accountability of it, it's changing your mindset, changing your attitude so you don't keep making the same decisions over and over again because you will find yourself in a perpetual cycle of pain. And ask me how I know. I'm telling you, if you don't learn the lesson and you don't keep making the same decisions, choosing the same type of people, you have to elevate your standards when you elevate your mindset. Stop trying to get this low thing when you've elevated your standards. It's like, no, I don't want that anymore. And it's not because you're bougie, you're all of that. With knowledge comes power. It comes with you knowing I deserve better. I deserve better. Why do I have to get this, these crumbs when I got these jewels over here? Go for that. And don't let other people and their judgments and looking at you sideways and, oh, they're different. Of course, I'm different. As you get older, you should grow, you should mature, you should shift your mindset. You shouldn't be doing the things that you did when you were 20 years old. It's you have to learn to elevate and grow with your mindset, grow with your focus, grow with your healing. And I'm telling you all, when I became healed in my mindset and I forgave people who hurt me, I'm telling you, it gave me wings because it gives you freedom to fly above instead of sitting in that pain and that pain dominating you. The pain no longer, the, the pain became my power. The pain became my fuel. It was my rocket fuel. See, a lot of people don't understand that. They think that painful situations paralyze them. That pain is this fuel that you should use to motivate and inspire you to get hungry for whatever it is that you're trying to do. See, I had to shift that pain, all the things that happened to me in my life, this trauma, the bad decisions I made, bad people I chose to be with, bad decisions that I made. Now I take all that pain and every day I wake up, I remember how that hurt me. I remember the people that I hurt. And now I know I'm a role model. I'm better. I'm stronger. I love myself. I'm different. Okay. I'm somebody now. And it depends on the person. Not everybody is as hungry as you are. And I had to learn that that was okay. Because if I knew back then what I know now is I would have stopped waiting, because I used to always wait for people. Hey, you want to do this? Hey, you want to do that? And then I would not go to places. I wouldn't go to events. I wouldn't go to some traveling things. I wouldn't take job offers just because other people said, oh, I don't want to go, or I don't like that, and I don't think that would work. I would listen to other people. So I want to say this to everybody: don't let other people and their negativity and their lack of living life and their lack of being unhealed and their jealousy and all the insecurities that they have, don't let other people's insecurities become yours. I wish I had learned that back in the day and knew that, but I know it now. Just because a person may be insecure or not like something, or tell you what their experience was, it does not mean that it's going to be yours, because people have different personalities. People have a different drive in life. Some people will settle for the mundane, the ordinary, the regular, but not me. I'm hungry. And I'm not saying this to bash anybody. I'm just saying not everybody is on your level of hunger. See, I have a plan, goals in my life. And of course, I'm not going to share that because I learned to walk in silence. Because when you share your thoughts and your dreams with other people, people will it leaves room for people to judge and to talk about it. But if people don't know what you're doing, they can't say anything. So I wish I knew that too back then, to just shut up and to walk in silence. Show people. You don't have to prove it. You don't have to explain it. That you don't have to do any why. You know, don't question yourself. Just go for it. And sometimes things will work out. And I wish I knew that back in the day that I know now. When things happen, okay, you're like, okay, that didn't work out, but that doesn't mean that it won't work. Maybe you were trying something and it wasn't the right time, or maybe you were trying something and it was not the right person to get you to where you needed to go. Always, if something, you tried it and it comes back, circles back to you, and you have that in your mind, I want to do that, then try it again. It probably wasn't the right person, but you're the right person for that vision. When something comes to you, when it's on your inside, and you're like, ah, but how do, and you question yourself, but how do I do that? As just start, that's the encouragement that I'll say to anybody. Just start. If you want to fix your finances, just start. Learn, read books, be around people who know about money and builds, and get yourself your portfolio together. And then when you start working on that goal, then you start a new goal. And I want to work on my health, and you fix that. And when that goes, one thing that I learned from my mentor, and she told me, and I'll never forget it, God rest her soul. She told me, Marlene, do not try to do 7 projects at a time. Because I don't know if you guys are like me. I've never diagnosed with ADHD, but sometimes I feel like I am, because I'll be trying to do 7 projects at the same time. And she said, that's good to want to have 7 goals like that. But it's better if you get hungry for one project, you do it, you finish it, you close the door, you start another one. Instead of having 7 unfinished projects, it's better to have one finished pro one finished goal, one finished project, and then you'll feel good. So that's what I'll say to you guys. Just like everything in life, work on your time management, work on your skills, and when you improve something, support yourself. I wish I knew that back in the day, that when I did something, don't wait for other people to acknowledge your one up, your blessing, something that It may not be hard for another person, but you know your struggle, you know yourself, you know your personality, and you know when something is an achievement. So don't wait and like tell people, because I used to do that. Tell people, hey, I did this, and they're like, oh, okay. And you're like, that's not the acknowledgement that I want. You know, people don't really know how hard of a struggle it was for you to overcome X, Y, and Z, but you know that. So that is the reason why I wish I knew back then what I know now, and that is celebrating myself. And when I tell you, when I celebrate myself hard and heavy, because I'm my own best friend. I don't need a friend. I don't need a partner. I don't need anybody else to celebrate me, because I celebrate myself every time I overcome, every time I heal, every time I step out of my comfort zone and I face my fears and I win. That's the only way that you can accomplish goals and do the things that you need to do in your life. You got to be hungry. You got to get excited. You have to accept yourself. And you have to celebrate you in every stage of your life, every season. So I did want to say that to everybody. Celebrate yourself in every season. And I wish I knew back then, don't wait for a person you're in a romantic relationship or other people to celebrate you like you do. If there's something that you want, go for it. Don't wait for people to gift it to you. I did that for many years. Oh, I want this. And you're waiting and you're like, why won't they get this for me? Or why won't they do this for me? Because they're not you. They don't know what you want. It's nothing wrong with going and getting things for yourself. If that's what you want, go for it. I say that to ladies and the gentlemen too. Don't wait for somebody to give you something. Go for it. Okay? Yes. Motivated mind, spirit, soul. You will get there. Yes, Nate, and you will too. And all of my chat family. I don't know any of you in person, but one thing that I know for sure is that we are overcomers. We're dreamers. We dream about things. We have goals, and it doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter what your financial situation is. It doesn't matter your health. If you want to do something, you can, but it's up to us to be fully convinced. You have to be convinced that you can do it, and then you have to go for it. That's all that I can say. And it's only one more thing that I want to say before I get out of here, because my lunch is almost over. Um, I wanted to say that don't listen to the haters. Don't listen to the jealous people. Don't listen to the people who are sitting down. Okay? You need to be inspired. Look at people who are doing things in your life, people who are motivated, loving themselves, and they're taking the action to get things. Be inspired by those people and then apply it to your life. Like, wow, look what they're doing. And you can't do something like somebody else, but you can apply it to your life and pour it into what you need to, and go for it. Whatever it is that you want to do. Okay? I want to say I applaud you all. I am proud of every single person. People just don't understand what people go through on a day-to-day basis. People are struggling to pay their bills. They're struggling with issues for their mental health. They're struggling with relationships, whether it's relatives or friends or whatever it is that you're going through. Give yourself the permission to be better in today, in your present, and let go of that past. Be your best self. Go for what's yours. Don't sit down. I wish I knew back then what I know now, that it's up to me. It's up to me to change anything, and anything that I have in my mind, I can do. Anything that I put in my mind, I can achieve, and I can go for it. And I say that to you all too. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you and your support. I hope there was something that I said in here that you give you guys some room for thought, meditation, and a reshift, because I'm all about the reshift. Even if you get off track for a little bit, it's okay. You can get off track, but then you get back on track. This is the Marlene Saunders Show, where we have real talk, real conversations, and you're welcome to it. I appreciate every single one of you and your support. On Saturday, we will be back for a real talk conversation. I'm going to set up the video. I think it's going to be a good conversation. So I'm looking forward to it. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye, everybody. And always check out all of my awesome mods: Nate the Great, Realist One Here, Lisa J. Stocks. And yeah, thank you all so much for your support. And anybody who is in the background watching on the replay, if you're new to the channel, you know what to do. Do all of the YouTube things. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.